From the Watergate building in Washington, this is Hotline TV. Now here are Hotline editors Amy Walter and John Mercurio.
Hello everybody, welcome back from a crazy primary and caucus weekend. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. I am still recovering, John, from the weekend, still hungover from that. Anyway, we have a ton to talk about today, so let's get right to it. Democrats debating tonight in Myrtle Beach. What's the story going to be? Is this one going to say civil, like the Las Vegas debate that was a snoozer?
I absolutely think we are headed for yet another snoozer. Look,
Yeah,
I mean, they are debating in front of the Congressional Black Caucus.
On Martin Luther King Day.
On Martin Luther King's birthday, Kumbaya, you're going to see a very similar civil tone set by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I really, at this point, don't think that we even need to mention John Edwards' name. After his performance in Nevada last weekend, he's almost not relevant to the campaign. But he did get a butt kicking by his own definition. So yeah, no, I think that is by design, and frankly, it works to both of their benefits right now. It works to Clinton's benefit because she avoids being the target. She avoids, especially in an audience that's probably relatively friendly to Obama. Right. In South Carolina, the Congressional Black Caucus. She could, if she got into a fight with Obama, I think really start to draw some fire from African Americans in the state. And it works to Obama's benefit because any time there's a civil discourse in this race, in a debate like that, I think he benefits because he's given credit for having elevated the tone of the debate,
potentially,
both in the actual forum and sort of throughout the campaign.
Well, that's what, but you see, I think what's been happening, especially in Nevada, which was the Clinton campaign, I think, has been trying to lure Obama and the Obama campaign for months now into a fight. And Nevada was a place where it started, where the back and forth, first it started about who was intimidating voters and who wasn't, who was saying what to caucus workers and who wasn't, what is the delegate count really, and so we go back and forth on this, culminating with Obama saying, and Good Morning America today, that, you know, Bill Clinton, we're gonna fight back when he says untrue, unfair things about me. And he's falling exactly into where they want Obama to go, which was, come on, you want. And once it becomes a fight, then the whole, I'm a different kind of campaigner, young people, independents, they get turned off a little bit. I think what I'm looking for in South Carolina, both in the, maybe tonight, but I agree with you, it's going to be a snoozer, but for the primary, let's see how well Obama does, not just among African Americans. Everybody's going to look for that number, though. The fact that he got 80-something% in Nevada means they're going to expect that level.
Yeah, there's
for him.
a high threshold.
There's a high threshold for him. The second is how many independents show up, and it could be higher because they didn't show up in South Carolina for Republicans. Right.
Look, I think, and I'll just make this real quick because I know we want to move on and talk about the Republicans. I think part of this Clinton strategy was to win in Nevada. And simultaneously, I think they're sort of putting Obama in this box as being the African-American candidate. He has to win South Carolina, and even when he does, it will be sort of an expected he won because of the African-American vote. And that's a double whammy for Obama because he won't get the bounce out of South Carolina that he'll need going into Super Tuesday, and he'll be even further pigeonholed as the black candidate. And I think, you know, that Tim Russert slip, not a big deal, but when Tim Russert on election night, on Saturday night, referred to South Carolina as South Africa, and then corrected himself quickly, again, not a big deal, but I think sort of a little bit of insight into how the media is starting to look at the South Carolina Democratic primary.
Okay.
All right, but that's enough about that. Next up, the Republicans headed to Florida while a very tan Rudy Giuliani is waiting to pounce. Or is he?
Interesting. So what's going on in Florida?
Game it out for us, Amy Walter.
This is more confusing now than it was even a week ago. South Carolina answered nothing for us. Here's what we know.
Well,
we have a closed.
But
here's you got McCain, but it's a closed primary. So all this talk about the fact that he still is not coalescing Republicans becomes a big deal there. And I don't know what happens. Does Thompson drop out? And if so, does that help Mike Huckabee? Does that help John McCain?
Even though Huckabee hasn't even said at this moment that he's going to really compete in Florida.
Right. I mean, he sounded the first half of his concession speech on Saturday night sure sounded like a guy was ready to drop out. Now he says he's going forward. But also, Huckabee may still be able to do well if you say, gosh, there were two guys not running in South Carolina who could compete for the McCain wing. You know, Romney, Giuliani, McCain, all trying to get the same voters. Huckabee evangelical voters, if they make up 30% and he does better among them than he has in New Hampshire, Michigan, that could be enough for him to.
Remember when Mitt Romney was the evangelical Republican candidate? Remember when that was
wasn't interesting.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, no, but so that leaves us with just a big old fat mess down there.
Right.
Now, I tend to believe that McCain's momentum is a big deal and a bigger deal than almost anything else that I've
It's being reflected in not just the state polls, but in national polls. He's up 15 points in New York State now over Rudy Giuliani, who, if not America's mayor, is at least a former New York City mayor.
Thank you.
And I think that's a big deal heading into Florida for McCain. I think you make a very good point, though, about the closed primary and his inability to sort of motivate and coalesce and get the Republican base to coalesce around him. And is he becoming if in fact we have a McCain nominee and we have a Clinton nominee, are we looking at dynamics that are very similar to the 1996 race between Bill Clinton and Bob Dole? I mean, you have on the Republican side sort of a war veteran, a very respected elderly senator who's basically their entire experience has been in Washington or on the battlefield, and a Clinton. It's going to be very interesting. I think there are a lot of parallels.
Bottom line, in a year of change, you get 2 United States senators, establishment candidates as the nominees. Very interesting. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show.
But you can catch us back here tomorrow on Hotline TV.